Buenas noches, familia. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Erica Andiola, and I'm the National Day Labor Organizing Network Political Director. And I also come to you tonight as the daughter of immigrants, a Mexicana, and as someone who is angry and very, very heartbroken in this moment. Gracias por estar aquí, miles de nosotros desde cada rincón de este país. And if you're just joining, welcome everybody. And I want you to know, every single one of you who is joining, that this week has been heavy, but you are not alone. Tonight, we are gathering for two men who should still be alive today. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo y Johan Sebastián Guerrero. We say their names because their killers do not get to erase them. We say their names because their families need us to say them. So repeat this with me. You can say it out loud. You can put it on the chat. Justice for Lorenzo. Justice for Johan. Justice for all. And we want eyes off our streets now. And before we begin, I am asking everybody to take 30 seconds of complete silence para Lorenzo, para Johan, para todas las familias que esta noche no duermen, for Lorenzo, for Johan, and for all the families who won't be sleeping tonight. So join me for this moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So before we begin, I want to just give you some quick housekeeping items. First of all, just make sure that there's no spam or trolling in the chat. And if you need, you can turn on captions in English. Also, I'm going to say this part in Spanish, so please hang tight. This is for our monolingual speakers. Esta parte la voy a decir en español para nuestras personas que nos están acompañando que hablan solamente español. Va a haber una interpretación en español en una liga que está en el chat y se puede unir por medio de esa liga en otra página de YouTube. Vamos a tener intérprete en español y también subtítulos en español. Así es que encuentre esa liga ahí en el chat y puede acompañarnos para escuchar todo el programa en español. Tonight, we will be joined by incredible leaders, both local and national from across the country. We have Juan Proaño, CEO of LULAC, who has been working directly with Lorenzo's family since day one. We have Crystal Cron from Maine Presente, who will be talking to us about what happened with Johan Sebastián Guerrero in Maine. We have Jessica Burrow from the Workers' Circle, who will tell us how we can turn this grief into organized vigils in every city. We have Lisette Chacon, Richard Garza from Texas, who will talk to us about the reality on the ground in their state. And also we have Congressman Joaquin Castro, who's going to tell us what Congress is doing right now to demand answers. Stick around till the end, and you're going to hear what can you do? What are the demands in concrete ways in which you can plug into this work tonight? And right now, I want to ask everyone to type the city that you're calling from. We want to know who is here. I want to make sure that we're all seeing each other. So if you can take 1 second to just put, where are you joining us from? Oh, wow, that's amazing. Mira eso. Look at that. All the people who are joining us from Houston to Maine to LA to Atlanta to Arizona, from all over the country. It's so incredible to see everybody. And this is a reminder to those in power that we are more. They cannot hide from us. Now, let me tell you who Lorenzo was and one of the main reasons why you are here. Because the regime that killed him, the regime who killed Lorenzo doesn't want you to know his name. They want you to think that he is a case number. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo was a papa. He was a Houstonian, a father. For 35 years, he rose before dawn to build Houston homes and put his sons through college. That's the man that ICE gunned down in the way to work. On Tuesday, July 7th, this week. Lorenzo was driving a work van in with his crew, including his own brother, to a job site in Houston where ICE agents shot and killed him. Then, just six days later, it happened again. On July 13 in Maine, ICE agents fatally shot 26-year-old Johan Sebastian Guerrero. He was on his way to start his day as a food delivery driver. He had his wife and his daughter, a 3-year-old toddler, in the car. They were forced to witness the murder of his father. Witnesses have said that they heard Johan say his last words, and they were, "I try to stop." Lorenzo and Johan were killed on their way to work. One to a job site and the other one to deliver food. That was their crime. Both were workers and both were gunned down by deportation agents, now lying about what they did. The same way they've lied about every person that has been public, whether it was Carlos Roberto Montoya in California or whether it was any other person they have lied about. His family had to find out through the news and social media. ICE has murdered another person and they have lied about it. That's the headline. That is the truth. That is what is happening. Now, I want to be honest with everybody. I am furious. I am heartbroken. And every ounce of that fury is righteous. And I want to know, are you angry as I am? Or how are you showing up tonight? Please put in the chat, how are you showing up tonight? Well, tonight we are going to turn that power into that rage. We're going to turn that rage, that anger that we feel, or any other emotion that we're feeling in our hearts, we're going to turn that rage into power. And we're going to start by hearing from one of the organizations that has been walking alongside Lorenzo's family from the very beginning of this ordeal. Now, I want to introduce Juan Proaño. He is the CEO of LULAC. Juan is going to talk to us about what the family has been through, what LULAC has done, and what they're asking us for us to do in every city across the country. Juan, I'm going to turn it over to you, hermano.
Thank you, Erica. Buenas noches todos. And I am a second-generation immigrant, proud son to a Colombian mom and a Peruvian dad. And I'm privileged to lead an organization that stands up for Latino and civil rights across the country. It has been a really, really difficult week. And I know that Ronaldo would wanted to be here tonight, but they're preparing for a public viewing tomorrow and a funeral on Saturday. We've all seen the news and the videos and the reports, but there's nothing that can really excuse the fact of what our federal government and DHS and ICE agencies have actually done to Lorenzo. Beyond the shooting and beyond the murder, they took all of the documents off of his person before they put him in an ambulance and sent him to the hospital. And they had to receive them in the hospital as a John Doe, which triggered a series of events for the family, delaying their access to their father, delaying the information, vital information, telling them and reporting 6 hours later that he had passed away, and requiring a biometric verification of the man they knew was there, and reporting finally 24 hours later that it was a homicide. Lorenzo was a good man, been with his wife for over 40 years, and he raised 3 absolutely incredible young men with values and with virtues that we would all be so lucky to have in any of our sons and daughters and children. I'm extremely proud that our Latino community has stood up. It is a watershed moment for Latinos across the country. And I'm only saddened by the fact that less than a week later, another Latino, un colombiano in Maine, had to suffer the same fate. And yet, another day after that, another immigrant in Florida who was fleeing DHS and ICE out of the fear as he crossed the highway was also killed. That's 3 deaths in 1 week from ICE enforcement actions. The numbers are telling. Over 58 people have died in ICE detention centers and through ICE enforcement actions. There's over 80,000 people in this country today in detention in one city, in one state or another. 80 to 90% of those people are Latino men. And I want to talk about that because Latino men are being hunted. They're being hunted by DHS. They're being hunted by ICE. These are fathers. These are sons. These are husbands, providers, protectors for their families and for our community. And the only mistake, if you would even call it such, is that Lorenzo was driving a work truck at 6:50 in the morning. He had brown skin and he was Latino. To be clear, it was a Kavanaugh stop. He was racially profiled. That was his only crime. ICE continues to walk back all the statements that they made. He wasn't a target of the enforcement action. Two other men of Guatemalan descent were, but all the men in that truck were actually from Mexico. It could have easily happened to any one of us, to my father, to your uncle, or to your brother. And it's so important that we as a community be ever vigilant of what's happening in this country and what's happening and the targeting going on to our men. So this is our chance. This is our opportunity to stand up, to remember Lorenzo, to remember Johan, and to let the world know that we won't stand for it anymore. I do not believe ICE. I do not believe DHS. I do not trust that the FBI will conduct a truly independent investigation. And these families will never get justice. So the only thing we can do is hope for accountability. And I thank each of you, Erica, and everyone on this call for the immense amount of work and the love that you've poured into making this night possible. And I will be proud to go out and march and pay my respects to Lorenzo and to Johan and to their families. Thank you.
Juan, gracias. Thank you so much to you, and thank you to every single organization who has been working with Lorenzo's family to demand justice on the ground. Thank you. And also Lorenzo's family, even though they're not with us tonight, they are here in spirit, in grief, and they are in this fight with us. And they have asked all of us to keep saying his name, to keep showing up, and to keep pushing for the truth. So please keep him in your heart as we continue to fight. And it happened again. Just as we thought it couldn't get worse, just as we heard Lorenzo's son say that he didn't want this to happen to anyone else, it did. Johan Sebastian Guerrero, a 26-year-old father, was killed by ICE in Maine 2 days ago. To tell us what happened in Maine and what we can do right now to support Johan's family, I'm going to bring up Cristal Cron, who is the executive director from Maine Presente. Before you come on, Crystal, I want to say this quickly in Spanish. Si nos están acompañando, por favor vaya a la liga que está en el chat para escuchar al intérprete. Cristal, I'm going to hand it over to you now.
Thanks so much. I'm heartbroken to have to be here tonight, but also deep gratitude for everyone on the call and being able to stand side by side with so many freedom fighters. I was sitting down to breakfast.
Crystal, I want to say this quickly in Spanish. Si nos están acompañando, por favor vaya a la liga que está en el chat para escuchar al intérprete.
So I was sitting down to breakfast at 8 a.m. on Monday when I opened my phone and saw the first report that Johan Sebastian Duran Guerrero, a 25-year-old from Colombia, was shot 4 times in the face and killed by ICE in Biddeford, Maine, not 45 minutes before. He was a beloved father, a neighbor, a worker, and a member of our community. We later found out that he was not the intended target, as confirmed by Senator King and the Department of Homeland Security. But I'm here to say that we reject that framing entirely. There's no individual whose death would ever be acceptable. There's no immigration status that makes someone's life worth less. ICE did not have the right to murder Johan Sebastian, regardless of his papers, his record, or his status. And the question of whether he was the right person is the wrong question entirely, and we reject it. Reports continued to come in, and even as he lay dead in the street, ICE continued their activity in the area. Enforcement operations appeared to resume just moments after, while the investigation had barely begun, showing such a callous disregard for our community's safety and grief. It was then that we took immediate action to organize support for the family, coordinating with the Attorney General's office around the investigation, with the medical examiner, and preparing to repatriate the body to Colombia to his family. And we continue to be in active coordination and communication with the family. We're sharing the official GoFundMe, which was created by us and the family, and all donations there will support the family getting the body back so that they can mourn and grieve in their traditional way. I want to remind us that this was predictable, though devastating. It was not a shock to us. In January, Maine was occupied by ICE. It was coordinated, large-scale enforcement activities that terrorized our communities. And in the aftermath, it was clear that if we didn't push ICE fully out of Maine, someone would die. The warning that we gave was not hyperbole. It was based on what we were seeing every day on the ground, the escalations of tactics, the violence directed towards legal observers, the disregard for due process, and the license that ICE agents operate with. So we have been building response and anticipation for this moment because we knew since last year that this would lead to devastation and violence in our communities. We started to build a statewide community defense infrastructure in January of last year, including the Maine Solidarity Fund, a bail and bond fund, that in February of this year, donations fell off when people believed that ICE was out of Maine, and we had to temporarily shrink the scope to only bonds and life-saving care. But really, we knew that this escalation was inevitable, given Maine's geographic positioning as a border state and our robust immigrant community in the political landscape. So we're calling now for, continued support of the family. We're continuing to stand side by side with his wife and his daughter and sister. And we're calling for the abolition of ICE because we believe that there's no reforming this agency, that they're doing exactly what they're meant to do. No training is sufficient, and this will only end when ICE is abolished altogether. Thank you.
Crystal, thank you so much as well for everything that you have been doing to support the family. I know as organizers, it's not easy to call to be out here fighting this fight and at the same time just really being close to the families and seeing their grief and seeing their pain. And I also just want to remind everybody at the beginning of this call, right? Everybody was putting their own feeling of outrage, right? All the different emotions that we're feeling in this moment. And I saw a lot of people, telling us that they are angry, they're sad, they're outraged, they're grieving everything that they're seeing on the news. And how can we not? Our communities are getting killed. Our communities are being murdered by ICE, and they are not being held responsible for the killings of our people. So if you are feeling just as angry as I am, if you're feeling as just as outraged, here's the thing: outrage without action is just grief wearing a mask. And this is the moment tonight to turn all that rage into organized power in every single city of everyone who is on this call. We will demand for justice for both Lorenzo, Johan, and for every single person who has been murdered by ICE. And to walk us through exactly how we're going to do that, we're now going to bring up Jessica Burrows from Freedom, who is the Freedom Vigils National Organizer with a Worker Circle. Jessica, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Erica. I'm going to talk about one way that we can collectively take action: vigils. Vigils are a powerful way to gather communities together in solidarity, shine a light on injustice, and demand consequences. At their core, these gatherings are about denouncing the state terror that the Trump regime has unleashed against immigrants, from violent assault to abductions to murders, and honoring the people who have been killed, as we are gathered tonight to do. Vigils are how we come together to remember and to mourn with and for the friends and family shattered by these violent murders. Vigils also show us that we are in a big, broad community that knows all people have rights, no exceptions, and that we are stepping up to denounce injustice when and where it occurs. Vigils can empower more people to speak out and actually make change. For example, thousands of Floridians held vigils for 47 consecutive weeks, which helped lead to the closing of the camp in the Everglades, cruelly named Alligator Alcatraz. It was we the people who did that, and it is we the people who can and must demand we close the camps and get ICE permanently out of all communities. For these reasons, we are calling on you to host vigils across the country from now through the day of action on July 25th. Vigils are organized by people like you. You can choose to gather a few friends and neighbors or go bigger. Vigils of all sizes and types are welcome and have impact. We will help you every step of the way, starting with these resources, which we're putting in the chat and we'll also send in our follow-up email tomorrow. First, go to this Mobilize link to create your vigil event. If you've already held a vigil in their memories, and we know that many of you have already held vigils, and we thank you, please still input it into the Mobilize platform. Through Mobilize, we're creating a map of all the vigils that take place across the country from July 7th up to July 25th, and we're going to publicize it. Use this toolkit to help you set up your vigil. The link to this toolkit is included also in the Mobilize invite. The toolkit offers step-by-step instructions for organizing your vigil, guidance for reaching out to press, safety resources, and even sample programs and liturgies to use. Once you sign up on Mobilize, we are available to provide one-on-one support. Let's stand in solidarity with the neighbors of these two fathers and working people and put an end to these attacks on our neighbors, family members, and friends all across the country. Please go ahead and sign up to host a vigil. You can even sign up now and work out the details later. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much. And please, please sign up to host an event. You don't have to wait for an organization. You don't have to wait for anyone to put together an event. You are able to put together an event, whether you go to your school, you have a soccer team, you go to church. Those are spaces to organize your community. We don't have to wait for anyone. You can just put your event on the map and make it happen. Put together a vigil. It can be as small as 5 people. It can be as big as thousands of people, but you can lead a vigil. And we're asking you right now to commit and be a leader for our communities because we need to build power. Now, what do we need to build power for? We need to get ICE out of our communities now. We need to stop the deaths of our people. No more names, no more deaths. But that's going to require policy change at all levels of government. Now, Texas is ground zero for all the attacks that are happening against our immigrant community. And to talk about what is actually happening on the ground and what is being done to push back in Texas, I want to bring up two amazing leaders. We have Lisette Chacon, who is the Executive Director of Workers' Defense Action Fund. And we also have Rochelle Garza, who is the President of Texas Civil Rights Project. Lisette and Rochelle, I'm going to pass it over to you. Adelante.
Gracias, Erika. Thank you so much. And buenas noches a todos. Gracias por acompañarnos. Workers Defense is an organization whose membership is 100% immigrant workers and their families. And so we see our members in Mr. Lorenzo. I'm an immigrant myself. My family is a mixed status family. And so I am outraged, but I'm also ready to organize and build. And so let me tell you a little bit about Texas and Houston in particular. The city that Mr. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo called home is a city of immigrants, the fourth largest city in the US. Houston has a history of incredible on-the-ground organizing around immigrant rights, and it should. 1 out of every 4 Houstonians is a foreign-born, and Houston's remarkably diverse culture is a direct result of the immigrant community. Houston is also a city marked by a deep collaboration between local police and immigration enforcement, a partnership that is driven and directed by our state government. Houston is in grief as a direct consequence of our president's brutal mass deportation agenda, which is being carried out without regard to humanity or basic dignity, and of our governor's collegial partnership in the monstrous effort which deputizes every sheriff in our state to participate in this campaign. We deserve a government that serves us and that can be held accountable when it does not. But we are up against one that dodges accountability and transparency at every opportunity. If we want things to change, we have to take collective action. And I want to share a little bit about the demands that we are making. Those demands came from local groups here in Houston, and we invite you all to support and join us in those demands. We demand that DHS release detainees who are key witnesses to Mr. Lorenzo's death and halt their deportation proceedings to allow their full participation in the investigation. We demand that the city of Houston, Harris County, and the state of Texas conduct a full and transparent investigation, including transparency and cooperation from DHS and other agencies, and accountability for any officers who were involved. We demand the city and county and state to cease supporting federal immigration enforcement with state and local resources, including the repeal of all the anti-immigrant legislation that the state of Texas has moved over the last couple of years. We demand the separation of local law enforcement from immigration enforcement. We also demand an end to the use of mass surveillance technologies, including automated license plate readers and vigilant solutions. And we demand for ICE to get out of our streets. We also call on businesses to protect employees, customers, and communities by declining to cooperate with ICE, refusing them access to their property, customer information, or any resources. We are also organizing a mass action in Houston on July 25th, and we hope that you will join us by organizing and mobilizing on that day as you've been invited previously. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo and Johan Sebastian Guerrero were both gunned down in broad daylight by ICE on their way to work or while working. Make no mistake, these are American workers who were gunned down by deportation agents. When ICE agents can shoot a worker driving to a job site, lie about it, and face no consequences or accountability, it becomes a threat to all working people. It's a threat to every work site, every work crew, and every industry and union that represents workers like Mr. Lorenzo and Mr. Johan. Thank you so much for the time today. And I'll pass it to Rochelle now, my compañera en Texas.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you all for having me this evening. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo should be alive today. Johan Sebastian Duran Guerrero should be alive today. And there are so many others whose names we have not brought up today. Silvero Villegas Gonzalez from Chicago, Ruben Ray Martinez, a Texan who was killed in South Padre Island. These are all people that should be alive today. I'm Rochelle Garza. I'm the president of the Texas Civil Rights Project, and I also serve as chair of the United States Commission on Civil Rights. As a civil rights attorney, an immigrants' rights advocate, the abuse of power by ICE agents and the murder of community members is absolutely devastating. And as a resident of the Texas-Mexico border, immigration enforcement has always been a part of my everyday life. However, the shift that we have seen, not only in Texas, but across this country, is not about immigration enforcement. It is about control. It is about instilling fear. I've had the opportunity to hear from hundreds of people across the country about the impact that immigration enforcement has had on their lives through the people's hearings. From Minnesota to Chicago to Los Angeles, the reality is the same. Our communities are being racially profiled. They're being disappeared. The right to protest is being undermined. People are being killed. Citizens are not. We are at an inflection point right now. In Texas, we have been experiencing the devastating consequences of extreme enforcement for years. Our state government has played a huge role in that, unfortunately, and has weaponized a lot of these tactics we've seen. So we've seen local enforcement collaboration with ICE, deploying of the National Guard to our border, denying of U.S. citizens their birth certificates, and removing naturalized citizens from the voter registration rolls. What we're seeing play out across this country, unfortunately, are the result of the policies that have been born in Texas, and they're being exported to a community near you. At home, our families are afraid. They're afraid to go to the grocery store. They're afraid to send their kids to school. People are just afraid to live their lives. Texas leads the country in immigration detention centers. That includes adults, families, children. In fact, 1/3 of individuals detained in ICE are imprisoned in our state. And we lead the country, in ICE arrests. 1 out of every 4 ICE arrests that occur in this country occur in Texas. Houston and Dallas, specifically, those ICE field offices are the top cities for arrests. And all of this is aided by collaboration that we've seen between ICE and local police. And it's all backed by mass surveillance systems and the immigration court arrests that have evaded people's scrutiny. And look, I know a lot of folks feel compelled to note Lorenzo's lack of a criminal history, to underscore the lies about ICE's actions and what happened to him. But we must stand together and we must be very clear and say very loudly that no one deserves to be killed. No one deserves that. In Texas, migration has been made a crime. And so what does that mean? That means that no immigrant can claim innocence. We cannot let that be our standard. The Texas Civil Rights Project is calling for a transparent investigation into the murders by ICE, all of them, at every level of government. We need Congress to look at this. We need the Commission on Civil Rights to look at this. We need the United Nations to look at this. We must have justice for the aggrieved families, and that means accountability for DHS and prosecution for the agents involved to the fullest extent of the law. We are demanding that any witnesses be protected, any evidence be preserved, and we demand that ICE be dismantled and kept off our streets. In Texas and in local communities across this country, we are demanding an end to local governments, business, and police collaboration with ICE. Public investments in our communities should prioritize and strengthen community safety, not be an extension of immigration enforcement. Resources should be diverted away from surveillance systems so that they do not feed the detention pipeline. And we demand the repeal of state laws that require local police to act as ICE agents and state courts to act as deportation judges. There is more that each of us can do, and I commend every single one of you for being on this call tonight, because now is the moment to do something. Now is the moment to get involved. Host a vigil in your city. Be a part of this movement. Get out there and honor the lives of Mr. Lorenzo, of all those individuals that have lost their lives at the hands of ICE. And get involved with the Texas Civil Rights Project. We continue to fight in and out of the courts, and we welcome you to this movement. There is a place for you with us. For Lorenzo, for Johan, for their children and families whose worlds have just been shattered, we urge everyone on this call to keep making noise, keep demanding justice, and keep putting pressure so that no one else is murdered at the hands of ICE. Thank you.
Thank you both so much for everything that you are doing in Texas, for being in the front lines, and just know that all of us, we all have your back. We really do. And now we do want to hear what Congress is doing. What is Congress doing to demand accountability? We want to know what they're doing to demand transparency and justice for Lorenzo and Joan's family. And for that, I'm going to bring up Congressman Joaquin Castro, who's going to talk to us about that. Congressman, the mic is yours.
No, thank you, Erica. Thank you so much for all of your work and everybody who helped convene us this evening, and also the other panelists. Um, I believe that we're living through a very ugly time in American history, an anti-immigrant time, and that these murders will become known as the ICE murders because the Latino community, and in particular, working Latino men, are being stalked in the streets by ICE. I was struck by the comments by ICE that neither one of these men were targets of enforcement. And I believe that's because they have agents and others they've contracted out on the streets, literally driving around looking for people in beat up construction trucks, people going to pick up supplies at Home Depot or Lowe's, watching and listening for who's speaking Spanish, and then confronting people and demanding to see their papers. And then after that, calling law enforcement and ICE to come get them if they believe that they're undocumented. And I think that's why Lorenzo and Johan were not necessarily on any kind of list, because they were profiled. Let me talk to you really quickly about what Congress is doing. Well, first, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus is going to have a field hearing in Houston on July 24th to take testimony and to collect evidence. That's important now, but I believe it'll become even more important when Democrats take back control of the House of Representatives, and there will be more consequences, I believe, for these actions at that time. We have asked for an independent investigation. And I want to say thank you to everybody who has raised their voice in Houston, in Texas, in Maine, across the country. In Texas, for example, Governor Abbott and other statewide leaders remained silent for a week on the murder of Lorenzo. And it wasn't until today, I believe, that the governor seemed to suggest that the Texas Rangers would be part of an investigation into what happened. I know the mayor of Houston, Mayor Whitmire, also has come around to supporting an investigation. And so those things, I believe, would not have happened but for many of the people on this call and for the public outcry about these murders. So we're going to Houston. We're pushing for independent investigation. We're supporting legislation like things, for example, to freeze the hiring of ICE agents. I voted, of course, against the well over $100 billion now in extra money for ICE. But as y'all know, it passed through the Congress. And so a few things. First, the challenge that we'll face is that we're going to need to withhold ICE money until they stop killing people. And that's going to be tough even when Democrats take control of Congress. The reason is they have so much extra money now that, to be honest with you, even if we didn't give them new money for 2 years, they still have a lot of extra money. And so we're going to need your help and your voices and your organizing again in taking on this issue. But please feel free to reach out to me, other members of Congress, and also hold our feet to the fire to continue to take action to protect our community. And with that, I think Carlos Espina, also a Texan, is next.
Yes, thank you so much, Congressman, for joining us, but also for your voice in DC. We really need your voice right now, and the voice of everyone who actually does care about our communities and our people. And to close us tonight, I want to bring someone who has been a key voice in social media, demanding justice for Lorenzo, for Johan, making sure that these families are not forgotten, not minimized, and not reduced to a soundbite. So I'm going to introduce now Carlos Eduardo Espino. Carlos, ¿dónde estás? There you are. Over to you, hermano.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, Perfect. Well, no, I just want to thank all the organizations here and all the people who got together to make this possible. I think when things like this happen, obviously it's a devastating moment, but to see how quickly the organization and the petitions and the movement and the protest and everything came together in such a short span of time shows that despite everything that has happened over the last year and a half, our community stays strong, it stays united, and I think now more than ever. So all these organizations who are involved, I would encourage people, whether they're in Texas or out of Texas, to really get involved with them, because I think that the Lorenzo's case is something that had made national headlines, but there's a lot of things going on every single day that aren't getting as much coverage. People getting disappeared and stopped and all these other things. And these organizations are working 24/7 every single day to make sure that they can be a voice for those who are being persecuted right now. So I just want to thank everyone, and I want to thank all the members of the community who really made everything possible. I think it was like 200,000 signatures in the span of a couple days. I mean, shows that people really rallied around and people are ready for a change. So thank you very much, and let's keep the work going and hopefully put an end to all of this soon.
Carlos, gracias. Thank you so much for keeping their names alive and for everything that you're doing with our communities. So, familia, everybody, friends, we've heard from LULAC, we've heard from Maine, we've heard from Texas, we've heard from Congress, and we have heard from each other. Now we need each of you to decide what you're going to do with what you have heard today on this call. Because here's the thing, this isn't just about Lorenzo and Johan. This is about a pattern. Since President Trump took office in the second term, federal immigration agents have shot at least 22 people and killed 6 that we know of. There have been 53 deaths in ICE custody since Trump was inaugurated. 33 of them in just this fiscal year alone. It's been the deadliest fiscal year in ICE since it got started in 2001, or back when it got started. ICE agents are operating in nearly 200 abuse-ridden detention facilities across the country, and they are tearing families apart and shooting people in our streets. In Minneapolis, in Chicago, in LA, in Houston, in Maine, and beyond. And when they kill, they lie. They lie about our communities. They lie about our people. 3 men were in the van with Lorenzo, including his brother. All 3 have said ICE agents were only on the side of the vehicle, making the claim that Lorenzo tried to ram them, lying about what happened, but we know the truth. The Texas Tribune, all these New York Times, all these publications have reported what they saw, and they continue to gaslight us, to bury the truth. But we're not gonna let them. We're not gonna let this story fade in 48 hours like it happens all the time. We're not gonna forget their names as we have for many years. We have to say their names and continue to say them until there's justice in this country for our immigrant community. Here's the thing, our demands are not negotiable, and we have to continue to repeat them. We had one of our leaders in Texas, Rochelle, who read some of these demands, and you're gonna find many of these demands in the toolkit. But I want to remind you of some of the demands that we have continuously cried out every single time they kill somebody in our community. 1, we want the immediate release of the witnesses to Lorenzo's death. They cannot be deported. They cannot be moved around. We want them to be released immediately. We want to hold these officers accountable. We need to ensure that the state and local resources that are supporting this federal immigration enforcement agency end. We need to call on all businesses, corporations, everyone like Home Depot, like all of these corporations who have actually said that they can't do nothing, that they can't do anything to protect our communities. We need to call on them to do something to protect their employees, their customers, their communities, and to refuse cooperation with ICE. And finally, we want no more deaths. We need ICE off our streets immediately. And it's not just a slogan, ICE off our streets is what we need. It's a demand that every family who has to bury a loved one because of this administration has said over and over. That is the demand of Lorenzo's son, Joan's little girl, every mama y papa listening tonight, wondering if their kid is next. Now it's your move. Please, before you close this tab, we need you to take action. Right now in the chat, I ask everyone to type the city where you're going to organize, whether it's in your church, in your school, in your community, in your neighborhood. Type the city where you're going to organize a vigil in July 25th, even before if you need to. So type in the chat, what city are you going to organize in? And before you go, I want to make sure that you also are going into the GoFundMe's for every single family and give what you can, even if it's $5. They need our support right now. And finally, please stay connected. Stay connected with all these organizations. Continue to get involved. And I want to close with this. Lorenzo was a Houstonian. 35 years building homes and putting his sons through college. Johan was a neighbor, a papa, a 26-year-old who had built a life in this country, in Maine, with his partner and his little girl. These are our people, our gente. And when they come for our people, we will fight back. Ya basta. No más. Not one more death. Say it with me on the chat. Say it with me out loud if you want. Justice for Lorenzo. Justice for Johan. Justice for all. And eyesight of our communities now. Buenas noches, familia. Cuídense mucho. Gracias. Gracias por estar aquí. And let's get to work. Thank you.